Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Kendra Comment, and I'm going to talk about using textbooks with EL students. First of all, let me explain the importance of giving textbook support to ELL students. Many English language learners have not had formal education experience in the United States. Education programs in other countries have different resources and don't always use resources in the same way. Even if students have been in the U.S. schools for a long period of time, they might not have been exposed to the general education curriculum. The first thing you should do is introduce the textbooks. You should show all the components of a textbook. For examples, front and back covers, author and illustrator, table of contents, glossary, and index. You should use examples from all types of textbooks, including reading, math, science, and social studies. You should use as many visuals as you possibly can and give as much exposure to these elements when you first introduce them. Try to explain the components in English and in the child's home language to enhance comprehension. Once the components have been introduced, check students' comprehension by asking questions and giving them opportunities to show their understanding. You can do this by just observing them after you ask them questions, or you can give them paper and pencil and have them label sections of the textbook. Here are examples of components that you need to explain during the introduction: the title page, index, table of contents, and back cover. Once you've introduced textbooks, you need to introduce the chapter elements. You should show them the titles, headings and subheadings, the bold print, captions, maps, graphs, photographs, drawings, bullets, review sections, and quizzes. You should give examples of each component and explain the purpose of each component. Students need to understand why these elements are in the chapter. It would be beneficial to post visual examples on classroom walls for students to refer back to. That way, if they forget what an element is, they will have a visual to remember. Review these elements before they begin each chapter. To prevent students from becoming overwhelmed, teachers should only focus on the components that will be used in the following chapter. Again, once you've covered this, you can give formal and informal assessments to determine student understanding. Here are some examples of what you should cover when you are talking about chapters: headings, tables, pictures and photographs, and diagrams. Once you are done talking about textbooks and chapter elements, you can move on to chapter walks. Before students read the chapter, have them look through the chapter and look for components. For example, they should look for vocabulary, visual aids, headings and subheadings, and the main idea. After they identify the components, have students predict what will happen in the chapter. Point out certain components that you want them to pay attention to and have the group discuss their purpose. Have students share their background knowledge and experiences with the chapter's topic. If they are unfamiliar with the chapter's content, provide any useful information. You can provide information by showing videos, other pictures, or other resources. There are many benefits for giving this type of support for textbooks. Although teaching students how to navigate the textbook can be time-consuming, students will eventually be able to use these skills on their own at a quicker pace. Once students have a good understanding of all the components of a textbook, they will be able to use the skills during all subjects. Students will be able to feel confident in their work and will become more successful in the classroom. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I hope you learned a lot, and if you have any more questions, you can visit this resource. Thank you.